Since her husband fails to fulfill her desires in bed,
Oh, that's rough,
CEO
bro.
enters a forbidden affair with an intern, which threatens her career. One night, after Romy makes love with her husband Jacob, she feels a sense of discontent. She wants to be satiated, but Jacob is already asleep, so she quickly sneaks into her study. There, she grabs her laptop and hastily browses risque materials just to satisfy her needs.
It's Nicole Kidman.
Romy,
Nicole
who's
Kidman.
obsessed with maintaining her youthful appearance, starts her day by performing her beauty regimen. Afterward, she diligently accomplishes her task as a mother by preparing her daughter's lunch for school and serving their breakfast. As they eat their meal, Isabel, Romy's eldest daughter, asks for permission from her if her girlfriend Mary can spend the night in their residence.
Ouch.
Romy quickly refuses just to set boundaries, much to Isabel's disappointment. Later, on her way to work, Romy feels anxious after witnessing a vicious dog attacking the bystanders. The dog is about to target her next, but a man in a loose coat whistles at it and offers his hand, prompting it to approach him curiously. Romy is grateful for his intervention, but she's curious as to how he easily tames the dog. Finally, at work, Romy introduces a new robot from her company named Harvest, which she markets as a product that will transform workplaces to become sustainable, productive, and safe.
What is it, like a clean robot?
Then, in her office, her assistant, Esme, welcomes the new interns while Romy prepares herself to meet them.
Dog
Romy
guy.
warmly greets them, and to build a rapport, she encourages them to ask her any questions. One of the interns, named Samuel, boldly questions if she honestly believes that automation can provide sustainability, or if it's just their marketing strategy to make people like robots. Esme finds his question distasteful, so she immediately sends the interns away. Romy remains silent as she recognizes him as the man who tamed the dog earlier.
Called it. I knew it was
During
him.
the intern's tour, Esme recommends that they apply for a mentorship program, which would be highly beneficial for them. The next day, after lunch, Romy orders Samuel to make her a coffee since she's preoccupied with her phone call. When Samuel hands her the drink, Romy asks him how he calmed the dog, and the man reveals that he gave it a cookie. Teasingly, he asks if she wants one, but she simply denies it. That night,
He definitely wants something.
Jacob to make love with her aggressively. At first, Jacob complies, but he feels like he's taking advantage of her, so he eventually stops. On the day of the office's Christmas party, Romy and Esme are conversing about the origin.
I would love for my wife to tell me that, bro.
However,
That's
Romy's
music in my
attention is
ears.
divided as her eyes keep on finding Samuel. With the crowd overwhelming Romy, the woman heads out to the balcony to take a cigarette break. Samuel appears and requests to borrow her lighter, so she hands hers. Out of the blue, Samuel informs Romy that he chose her as his mentor, much to her confusion. She clarifies that she isn't part of the program, but Samuel contests it, explaining that an email he received has her name on the list. Back at the party, Romy watches Samuel have fun as he dances with one of the employees, which surprisingly brightens her mood.
He wants them.
Samuel then removes his necktie and absent-mindedly tries to put it in his pocket, but it falls to the ground. The following day at work, Romy encounters the cleaning crew taking down the Christmas decorations. To her surprise, Samuel's necktie is still on the ground, so she immediately grabs it before anyone can see her. In her office, Romy attempts to focus on her job, but the bag concealing Samuel's necktie keeps on bothering her. Can't resist anymore, Romy sits on the sofa and
gonna sniff it?
the necktie from the bag. She
Ah!
proceeds to fantasize about him while she savors the feel of the
He's
necktie
gonna
in her
sniff it!
hands.
I knew it!
Shortly after, Romy heads to a cosmetic surgery clinic to get fillers and Botox. Later at home, Romy and her family are taking their Christmas photo, but she notices that Isabella is underdressed, bothering her. She immediately leaves her position to check on the image, and just as she predicted, Isabella looks awkward.
Yeah, because Brad doesn't
She
want to be
orders
there.
her to change her attire, but Isabella refuses and mocks her new appearance, hurting her. The succeeding day, Romy enters the elevator, and she checks on her face, still bothered by Isabella's remark. Suddenly, Samuel joins her in the elevator and shares that he's looking forward to Tuesday.
Samuel's gonna tell her
Romy
she's
expresses
hot.
her confusion about the occasion, so Samuel
hot.
reveals that it's their first session together. Again, Romy refuses to attend it, insisting that she doesn't have time. Samuel remains stubborn, believing that she can make it possible since it'll only last 10 minutes per session. Abruptly, he notices the bruising on her cheek, which leads him to voice that she doesn't need any enhancements. He realizes that Romy starts to feel uncomfortable, so he then compliments her new appearance. At lunch, Romy paces in her office when she
Likes the
discovers
attention.
that Samuel and Esme are lounging together on the balcony,
get
making her
jealous.
curious about their relationship. In the evening, as Esme is applying concealer to Romy's bruise, She asks her if there's a possibility of being promoted. Since she's good at her job, Romy stresses that she'll consider it. During the mentorship, Samuel asks Romy about how her dream of warehouse automation started. The woman finds his question ridiculous, especially since he can just easily find the answer on Google. Samuel insists that he wants to get her answer because he thinks the internet is unreliable. Without a choice, Romy reminisces about her journey when an investment firm recruited her. Throughout the time she's sharing her story, Samuel tries to interrupt her, simply asserting his dominance. However,
She likes that.
Romy consistently ignores him, so he teases her further. Out of nowhere, Samuel voices that behind her imposing demeanor, she wants to be dominated. An awkward air fills the room, and Samuel soon realizes that his remark is inappropriate. Now embarrassed, he focuses his attention on his paper, but Romy snatches the pen out of his grasp. She hurriedly writes down her phone number, which makes him feel smug. Romy then attempts to leave the room, but Samuel blocks her path.
Where are you going?
First, Romy tries to stare him down, but Samuel won't budge and proceeds to kiss her. That evening, Romy receives a text from an unknown number, but before she can check it, she hears strange noises outside. Curious, she peers out of the window,
Samuel?
and she's baffled that Isabel is fooling around with their neighbor Ophelia, given that she's in a relationship with Mary. Since she's bothered by this, Romy confronts her daughter the following day. To her surprise, Isabel emphasizes that she's still in love with Mary, and she's merely having fun with Ophelia. That afternoon, Romy leaves their building when Samuel rushes toward her. He questions her reason for not meeting him for their weekly mentorship, but Romy refuses to address this and continues to walk. Not backing down, Samuel corners her and continues to confront her, and this starts to attract the passers-by's attention. This pressures Romy, so to end their conversation, she says that she'll consider attending their sessions. Later on, Romy visits a theater where Jacob works as a director just to spend time with her husband. Jacob is surprised at her sudden visit, given that it's been years since she last stepped foot in his workplace. Romy simply smiles and starts to be clingy with him, leaving him curious. That evening, at the bar, Romy sits at a table with her subordinates, but her eyes keep wandering to Samuel's location. Suddenly, Esme leaves the table and heads to the intern's location to mingle with them. She laughs at Samuel's antics, which causes her to strike him on the arm playfully. Their proximity makes Romy feel a tinge of jealousy, but when the waiter puts a glass of milk in front of her, she returns to her senses. Confused, she wonders who ordered the drink, but none of her subordinates claims it. Romy then locks eyes with Samuel, so she realizes that he ordered it for her. Without hesitation, Romy drinks it while looking at Samuel, which makes him feel satisfied. After the party, Romy is taking care of the bill when Samuel approaches her from behind and compliments her obedience. One night, after Jacob's show is finished,
My guy's getting in her head.
Romy
She
races
doesn't
to the
realize it.
stage to congratulate her husband. However, she informs Jacob that she has to leave due to a work emergency. This upsets Jacob because it's the only night that he needs.
She's gonna get some
but Romy
work done.
Firm in her decision. Upon returning to her office, Romy notices a note from Samuel lying on her table, wherein he's ordering her to visit a hotel tomorrow night. At the time of their meeting, Romy races to a cheap hotel as she's alarmed at Samuel's behavior. To her dismay, she finds herself alone inside the room, so she's compelled to wait for him, something she isn't used to. A few minutes later, Samuel appears, but the man treats her indifferently. Angered, Romy forbids him from calling her, leaving notes on her table, and even buying her a drink, as she deems these actions inappropriate from an intern. This confuses Samuel because she willingly visits him wearing seductive attire, so he expects that she'll pursue their affair.
He knows what she's doing. She wants it.
He orders her to kneel, but Romy profusely refuses. She admits that she's reluctant to explore her desires with him because she fears she might be taking advantage of their power dynamics. Samuel boldly asserts that he has the upper hand, explaining that a single call from him can ruin her entire career. Now, he commands her to kneel, and the woman tries to comply. Romy starts to feel ashamed, so she grabs her belongings and rushes to the door. With a change of mind, Romy returns and kisses Samuel passionately.
He wants it.
He pushes her away because it isn't how he wants their intimacy to start. To explore Romy's desires, Samuel orders her to position herself on all fours, which the woman complies with. He then proceeds to feed her using his hands, treating her as if she's an animal. As the tension grows stronger, Samuel starts to caress her, and Romy simply allows herself to be vulnerable. After the deed, Romy becomes emotional as she finally experiences satiation. Samuel understands her feelings, so he wraps her protectively in his arms to comfort her. Realizing that she's able to find
He's happier
someone who
now.
will fulfill her needs,
He's good.
Romy continuously meets with Samuel in secret. Because of their secret rendezvous, Romy feels rejuvenated, so she starts to interact positively with her family.
Sometimes that's all you
The
need.
days are numbered when
That's all
Samuel
you need.
shows up at her country house unannounced. Samuel reasons that he's merely returning the laptop she forgot in the office, but Romy knows full well that he's lying. Not to appear suspicious, Romy hides her panic by playing along with his charades. Later, in her car,
Nah, that's
Romy
pushing it. That's a
sternly
little too much.
scolds Samuel for showing up at her house, which crosses their boundaries.
Yeah.
She stresses that her family is important to her, and she doesn't want to ruin it. Hurt, Samuel tries to leave the car, but Romy has locked the door because she has more important things to tell him. She announces that they need to stop their affair, which further upsets him. The following day at work, Romy stumbles upon Samuel conversing with Mr. Missile, one of the board of directors.
Oh,
She
snap.
feels frightened that Samuel might have
What is Samuel doing?
so she enters her office. Samuel keeps a cold facade and just greets her politely before leaving. Thankfully, Mr. Missile begins their conversation by talking about her ad campaign. Suddenly, she receives a text message from Samuel, ordering her to head to the rooftop. Once they meet, Samuel expresses his desire to be transferred to a different department because he's uncomfortable working with her. Romy forbids him from doing so because it would rouse their colleagues' suspicion about their relationship and ruin her career. Regardless, Samuel is
Goddamn, she
firm
got
in
herself
his
in trouble.
decision, thinking it's the best for them. In the evening, Romy is waiting for Samuel to text her, but Jacob slides beside her in bed and tries to make love with her. Upset that he can't satisfy her, she pushes him away and proceeds to leave. Not long after, she visits Samuel in a bar where he works part-time to talk about their affair, but he ignores her. Instead, Samuel requests his colleague, Josh, to send Romy away. The following morning, Jacob expresses his hurt after Romy pushed him away last night. She apologizes, reasoning that she was just stressed, so her words mean nothing. Still, Romy's hurtful words linger in Jacob's mind, so he abruptly leaves for work. Shortly after, Romy meets with Samuel as she's worried that he has snitched on her. Samuel sees through her vulnerability, her desire to continue their affair despite her fears. Hence, he advises her that they must ensure that their relationship is consensual. Such a concept is foreign to Romy, so Samuel explains that both parties must reach a mutual decision before they proceed with their intimacy. Moreover, he thinks it's best if they establish
This guy is good at what
She must
like
obey
he's
his
good at what he
orders.
does, bro. This guy's good.
At first, Romy protests about his proposal, so Samuel threatens to expose their affair. She immediately folds
God
to his
damn,
threat.
this guy
so
is an
Samuel
ass
takes
sometimes,
this
though.
opportunity to order her to sit at the table. Afterward, he urges her to voice out loud that she'll obey his orders. Following this, the pair meets in a luxurious suite to pursue their affair. Samuel orders Romy to disrobe, which the woman gingerly complies with. He then compliments her
God damn,
beauty,
she's doing it so
but
easily.
Romy starts to get emotional because she is embarrassed to show him her body, which is one thing she's insecure about. To her surprise, Samuel gently takes her into his arms and insists that she's beautiful. Before making love, he asks Romy about their safe word, and she suggests they use her husband's name. Eventually,
The husband's
engage
name,
in
bro.
passionate
That's,
night,
that's
which leaves
some
Romy
serious
feeling
shit right
fulfilled.
there. That's
The
so
next day,
evil.
it's Isabel's birthday, and Romy is surprised that Esme attends with Samuel. Though finding it awkward, Romy warmly welcomes them to the party. Later, in the kitchen, Romy confronts Samuel for showing up at her house unannounced once again. Furthermore, she is bothered about how close he is with Esme.
Yeah.
Samuel reveals that he's actually seeing her. Possessiveness washes over Romy as she objects to the idea of him meeting other women. Samuel points out her hypocrisy, given that
Yeah.
she has a husband.
Husband and kids.
At that moment, Esme appears, causing the pair to distance themselves from each other. The following morning, Romy discourages Esme from having a relationship with an intern, warning her that it can jeopardize her career, particularly her promotion. That evening, Romy heads to a club to waste
that's
the
not
night
cool
away
what
with
she's doing.
Samuel, and the man
She's gonna
enjoys
get
her
caught.
company.
You're gonna get caught.
Upon returning to their apartment, Romy is surprised to find Isabel awake and emotional. Protective of her, she asks what happened, and Isabel reveals that Mary broke up with her after discovering her unfaithfulness. The next day, Esme visits Romy to inform her that she's aware of her relationship with Samuel. However, she clarifies that she
Goddamn.
has no intention of ruining her career. Instead, she encourages her to leave Samuel and focus on becoming a good leader in their company. Esme emphasizes that Romy is one of the few women who reach the top, and it's in her interest to keep her there. Due to her words, Romy feels guilty about her actions, so she decides to admit her infidelity to her husband.
Uh-oh.
Curious about the man, Jacob asks about his identity. But Romy protects Samuel by lying that she met a stranger. She then bares herself by revealing that she has strange fantasies that her lover is able to fulfill. Betrayed, Jacob admonishes her for having an affair because he believes she jeopardized their children. As a result, he orders her to leave their apartment. A few moments later, in Romy's country house, the woman is wallowing in regret when she hears a strange noise outside.
Samuel.
It turns out that Samuel has sneaked into her house and is currently enjoying his time in her pool. Alarmed by his presence, she approaches him and orders him to leave, as someone might catch them. Samuel reaches out his hands, which Romy tries to take, thinking he needs help getting out of the pool. Unexpectedly, Samuel pulls her down with him, and they share a kiss. Afterward, the pair return inside the house when Jacob suddenly appears, sending Romy into a panic. Realizing that Samuel is the man Romy is having an affair with, Jacob calmly requests his wife to leave them alone for a second. Romy refuses, because she's afraid Jacob will lose his temper. Samuel tries to de-escalate the situation, so he pulls Jacob away from Romy, only for it to start a physical altercation between them. Once the confrontation ends, Jacob feels sorry for Samuel because he believes Romy took advantage of him just to fulfill her strange desires. Samuel criticizes his perspective, emphasizing that their affair is consented to and that he just has an outdated view of intimacy. Jacob starts to feel overwhelmed that he experiences a panic attack, so Samuel starts to feel bad. Out of worry, he gives him a glass of water and allows him to calm his nerves. Now sorry for causing him pain, Samuel apologizes to him. He then crosses the living room to the doorway and proceeds to leave without looking back. A few days later, Esme, now promoted to junior leadership coordinator, dedicates a speech of appreciation to Romy. Speaking of her boss, the woman remains in her country house, alone, and feeling like her fire has been extinguished. Suddenly,
everyone knows now.
Isabel visits her and comforts her, much to Romy's surprise. She convinces her mother to return home because their father needs him. She reveals that Jacob refuses to eat and even stays in the theater. With conviction, Isabel voices that Jacob will forgive her, just like how Mary has forgiven her. To test the waters, Romy visits Jacob in the theater and takes full responsibility for her unfaithfulness. She explains that it's her fault for not communicating her needs with him. One day at work, Mr. Missile informs Romy that Jacob is transferred to Japan, which leaves him curious if she has anything to do with it.
Samuel.
Romy simply ignores him, so the man changes the subject. He invites her to stay with him at his house next week, but Romy feels insulted at his crude invitation. Not backing down, the man gives her a warning, but Romy, unafraid, throws profanity at him. She shares that if she wants to be humiliated, she'll just pay someone to do it. The following day, Romy, who has reconciled with her husband, communicates with him about how to make love to her. In the middle of the deed, she fantasizes about Samuel petting the untamed dog inside the cheap hotel room.
Subscribe to watch.
Wow! You're still thinking about the other guy, bro. Jeez, Nicole Kidman, I know she does some scandalous movies, bro, but this was definitely up there. Check it out, man. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Bye.